Today's presentation, the webinar, is just a guide to the 2024 AMCA Annual Meeting for Young Professionals. So we'll go over all the things we have planned, and we have our YPs, advisors, and chairs here today. Just some housekeeping, as I mentioned earlier, this presentation is being recorded, so you will be seeing a little icon somewhere in the corner of your screen to show that it is recording. But since it is a webinar style, none of your faces will be showing, so no need to worry about that. The second thing is you may see the option for the chat, but at this time the chat function is disabled. But if you have any questions during the presentation or during our Q&A session, you're more than welcome to put any questions on there. And then once we get to that part, we'll answer those questions. And we have Becky, who is part of our committee here, to assist us with that. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A. So really briefly, just want to introduce who the Young Professionals Committee is for the 2023-2024 term. So we have two advisors. We have Kendall and Chloe. We have three chairs. So Drew is this year's chair. We have Nicole, who is the co-chair. And as I mentioned earlier, I am the past chair. And we do have 7 amazing committee members. And as I mentioned, we have Becky here joining us today for assistance. So overall, these are the individuals who are working really diligently and are using their creative juices to put all the events together for the annual meeting for you all. So hopefully you guys are very excited for that. And you are more than welcome to say hello to them when you see them at the annual meeting. And with that, I'll pass it on to Kendall to talk a little bit more about who the Young Professionals Group is.
Thanks so much, Caroline. So hello, everyone. Like Caroline said, my name is Kendall Brommuller, and I am one of the YP's advisors. And I'll tell you a little bit about our group and our history. Next slide. So you may be wondering, what is a YP? And our definition has changed a couple times over the years. But right now, what we have decided of what a YP is if you have fewer than 8 years in a mosquito-related field, so ticks, kissing bugs, what have you, vector control, and if you have fewer than 5 years of participation in the American Mosquito Control Association, that could be attending the conference, being a member, things like that. Next slide. A tiny history about our YP group is that it was actually created in 2010, and this was really to kind of prepare that next generation of professionals for careers in these mosquito and vector related control and research positions. We wanted to kind of have that camaraderie for that group, and as that group has continued to advance and become seasoned professionals. And we really also encourage involvement in the American Mosquito Control Association as well. Next slide. And so about our committee, we have 3 chairs, our primary chair, past chair, and co-chair. And these 3 help select the other committee members, which our number really changes depending on the needs of the group, whether or not we have some larger deliverables we need to work on for the year or something like that. Also kind of depends on how many people apply. And so that's the makeup of the committee, as well as our chair advisors. Next slide. And I will hand it off to Chloe, our other advisor.
Thank you, Kendall. Hello, everyone. I'm Chloe Wang from UC Irvine. I'm another YP's advisor. There are 3 main missions of the Young Professionals Group. First, to promote interactions and encourage lifelong participation in AMCA. We hope to help you build a relationship with each other and with AMCA seasoned and experienced professionals through a variety of activities. Second, to create and promote YP's activities both at and beyond the annual meetings. We will host the workshops, roundtables, panels, and the YP social at the annual meeting. We also have year-round webinars that provide learning and networking opportunities. We would also highlight research and professional achievements of YPs via social media announcements, AMCA newsletters, and YP's newsletters. You can contact us at amcayps@gmail.com for more information. To receive all the communications and information, you will need to sign up as a YP's group member. You can find the sign up link in the Young Professional Group tab at the AMCA website. You can also sign up directly at our YP's website or by scanning the QR code here on the right side. I will pass to Nicole, our co-chair.
Hey, thanks, Chloe. My name is Nicole Foley, and like Chloe said, I'm the co-chair of the YPs Committee, and I'll give you a little overview of the AMCA Annual Meeting. And so first and foremost, the annual meeting is from March 4th to March 8th, and it's going to be located in the Sheraton Dallas Hotel. There's the address for you, but it's right in downtown Dallas. Check-in time is from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. I do want to note that if you're going to come in any later than 11 p.m., be sure to give the hotel a call, because they did say if you come in past that time, you might get a no-show fee. So just keep that in mind. And then checkout time is 11 a.m. And I did want to mention, if you haven't booked already, arrive early if you can. We have a pre-conference workshop, which Drew will talk about later on in this presentation. That's happening on Monday, May 4th at 8:30 a.m. and RSVP is required. And so there'll be a link later on to sign up for that. In terms of transportation, there's 2 airports in Dallas. So there's Dallas Love Field, which is 9.6 miles away from the venue, and Dallas Fort Worth International, which is 17.8 miles away. I have some Uber cost estimates. I stress estimates, you know, those numbers fluctuate a lot. But from Dallas Love Field, it was about $35, and Dallas Fort Worth was about $50. I did want to note that Dallas has some public transportation. It's called DART. And so they have an all-day local access pass that runs for $6. So I think that might probably be the cheapest way to go. And so if you take public transit, Dallas Love Field is about 11 minutes to get to the convention center, and Dallas Fort Worth International, it's about an hour. And also there's an app that you can download. It's called Event Scribe. So you can find that in any of the app stores on your device. And so with this app, you can review the schedule and create your own personal itinerary. You can actually export it to your personal calendar, which is really helpful. And on this app, you can view presentations, take notes. You can also connect with fellow attendees, see who's going to be there. And you can also connect with exhibitors as well. And then you can also check into sessions to get continuing credits, depending on what state you're located in. And so you'll install the free app, and then you search for AMCA 24. But upon arrival, there's also a paper copy of the agenda that will be available. Did want to note there has been a few issues with getting the app to locate AMCA 2024 annual meeting. So here's some notes for how to fix that. So if you are having issues, uninstall the app and reinstall it. That should get your app settings clear. And then prior to searching for AMCA, go to the bottom menu and go to settings. And there'll be a button that says update now, and this should clear any of the glitches that are in the app. But once you're in there, you can search for AMCA, and you should be able to select the 2024 event. And then you can create an account and then use the code below. So now I'll pass it on to Drew, our current chair.
Thank you, Nicole. So I am the current chair. My name is Drew Leesacker, and I'll be talking about that pre-conference workshop that Nicole had mentioned, as well as the dinner that the YPs will be putting on. So just to kind of give you an overview of the goal of the workshop, it's to broaden the knowledge and skills of YPs and promote a culture of collaboration through these interactive lectures and group activities. So generally the workshop is an all-day event, and we'll have a couple different lectures or different types of activities to promote networking as well as learning new skills and kind of promoting and helping build skills that you might already be working on. So this year the workshop is on Monday, March 4th. So it's the day of all the other I guess pre-conference workshops. So just make sure that when you're registering that you make sure you're attending or showing up either Sunday or early Monday morning, because we are starting at 8:30 a.m. on Monday. If you have registered, You'll be able to come in at the registration, sign in between 8:30 to 9, and then we'll have a free lunch around noon, and I'll get more into the schedule in a second. But the location will be room D3, and as I mentioned, an RSVP is required. So that deadline is this Friday, February 16th, and I'll talk a little bit more about the registration forms here in a second. Slide. So for the workshop events, like I said, that 8:30 to 9 a.m. is that registration check-in portion. So if we have any room left, you can register for the workshop and come in, but we really highly encourage you to register online before the workshop by this upcoming Friday. After that, we'll go from 9 to noon. We'll have that morning session. That'll be kind of a time for you to meet other YPs that are attending the workshop with an icebreaker and get to talk, have a coffee break, and then we'll go into an invasive species workshop. So the focus for the first half of the workshop this year is talking about when new vectors show up in your area. After that, from noon to just shortly after 1, we'll have that lunch provided, and then that afternoon session from 1:15 to around 3 will be more of that career building or general career building session with interview preparation portion, and then a portion about writing for publication. And after that, we'll have our closing remarks. Slide. So as I mentioned, the RSVP is required for the workshop. It's also required for the YP dinner. We have a limit of around 50 people for both of those. So make sure you're registering, and I will, at the end of this section, we have a QR code where you can access that registration form. The dinner itself, though, will be Tuesday, March 5th. So if you can't make it to the workshop, you can sign up for the dinner still. And that time will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Corrientes 348. Our sponsor this year is Clark. Once again, the registration is the same date as the workshop, so try to register by February 16th. If you can make it to the workshop as well as the dinner, you can pick up your tickets for the workshop or tickets for the dinner at the workshop. And if you can't make it to the workshop on Monday, you can pick up your tickets Tuesday up until 1:45 p.m. So, but make sure you claim your ticket one of those 2 days, because unclaimed tickets will go to a waiting list. So generally what we do is if we get more than 50 people signed up, we end up having a waiting list. And if people don't claim their tickets, those tickets will go to those on that waiting list. So make sure you register and pick up your tickets for the dinner. Slide. So as I mentioned, the registration is online. It's the same Google form for both the dinner and the workshop. So if you can't make one or the other, make sure you're checking the correct boxes. And you can scan this QR code or follow this link. And if we're going too fast for these QR codes for y'all, we'll have a QR code at the end, which will bring you to all these different registration forms. Slide. So with that, I will pass it off to Caroline, our current past chair.
As mentioned, my name is Caroline Gongora, and I am the past chair for this term, and I'll be talking a little bit more about our symposia and social. So for this year's symposium number 1, the theme is the Odyssey from Larvae to Leaders, Crafting Your Career Path in Mosquito Control. So our symposia will be on Wednesday, March 6th from 1:45 to 3:15 p.m. in the D2 room. What I'm really excited about the symposium is because we're going to have a career panel which aims to highlight different careers within the mosquito control industry. So we'll have 4 speakers from different fields across mosquito control talking about their unique stories, their journeys, their challenges and insights. So it's going to be a very great panel, and definitely if you're ever curious to learn about the different careers out there, just to learn about people's journeys, it definitely will be a great opportunity to do that. So for the second part of our symposium, we're going to have career roundtables. And this again will be on Wednesday, March 6th, but from 4 to 5:30 p.m., same location, D2. What's great about the career roundtables is that it provides a smaller, more intimate setting where you can ask people who work in mosquito control, seasoned professionals, that, if you have any questions about how they got there, maybe you're experiencing some challenges and you just need some advice, maybe some type of mentor, this is the place to do that. We'll have people from academia, consulting, the government agencies, also military. So again, this was a great opportunity to meet with people within our industry that maybe you're curious about or want to learn more about. This is a great setting for that. And we do ask that you please stay until the very end so we can take a group photo. following the symposium, we are going to have a YP social. So all the YPs and experts are invited to relax and continue networking with food and drinks. I know we're all going to be hungry after. So this will be from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Press Club. And this year's sponsor is Valent Biosciences. And with that, I'll pass it on to Nicole to talk about the YPs booth.
Awesome. Thanks. We can go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, great. So our YP's booth is located in the exhibit hall, and our booth number is 808. And so it looks like it's going to be the far left end of the exhibit hall. Yep, thank you, Caroline. So we can move to the next slide. And so the booth is really fun. You guys should totally stop by. We have games. There's going to be a new game every day. We also have this guess the number of. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a surprise. But if you guess, whoever gets closest to the number gets a grand prize. We also have YP's t-shirts, which are themed for the annual meeting. Limited quantity, so please come by early if you can. There's also fun giveaways and swag, and you can meet other YPs. There's a lot of people that hang out around the booth, and you can also take some photos with new and old YP friends. Something else that keeps the booth pretty busy is the mosquito art auction. And so it's a silent art auction, and these are pieces of art that are created by AMCA and YP members. And so the art auction starts when the exhibit hall opens. So that's Monday at 5 p.m. and closes on Wednesday at 4 p.m. So feel free to come by and bid. And Caroline, if you could go to the next slide for me. So here's a QR code. Please, if you're interested, we would love for you to donate some art. We have some submissions, but we love to have as much as possible. So if you're interested in donating some pieces of art that are mosquito related in the slightest, feel free to do so, and we look forward to seeing it. And something else that we do at the YP's booth is a 50-50 raffle. And so feel free to come and buy some raffle tickets. So how that works is half of the proceeds go to us, the YP's fund, so we can support some of these YP's events. And then the other 50% goes to whoever wins the raffle. And so it'll be $1 for 1 ticket, $2 for 3 tickets, and $5 for 10 tickets. And ultimately, if you're going to be at the annual meeting, please, if you're interested, sign up to help us run the booth or sell raffle tickets. I'm not very good at selling raffle tickets, so if that's your forte, we would really appreciate your help. But this QR code will take you to an Excel file, and please just sign up whenever you're available. We'd really, really appreciate it, and it's a great way to meet fellow YPs. So I'll pass it back over to Drew.
Yeah, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. We have our AMCA YPs Gmail, so we're going to have a couple minutes here at the end to do questions, but if your question doesn't get answered or you remember something after the webinar is over, you can email us there. You may also reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and there's a QR code on the next slide, but I just want to remind you, you can also register for our next webinar, which is more on conferences and best practices for presenting and networking. So with this QR code on the next slide, you can register for that webinar, or you can register for the dinner or the YP social. It'll bring you to our link tree, which has most of these registration forms and sign up forms, as well as our YP website and social media. So with that, I'm going to open it up for questions. I might have to run here in a few minutes, but the rest of the committee will be around for the rest of the webinar. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So that does conclude the portion of the webinar with all the information about the upcoming YP's events and activities. But if you have any questions, feel free to, again, to drop it in the Q&A panel. We have about maybe 5 minutes to answer any questions you may have. And then really briefly for the upcoming webinar, it's going to be on Tuesday, February 20th. So if you have not yet, please RSVP for that. We're going to have Angela from Benton County in Washington and Olivia, who is a postdoctoral scholar at UC Davis. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A. And then Becky, do we have any questions at this time?
We do not have any questions yet.
Okay, no worries. It's okay if you're shy, but as Drew mentioned, if you have any questions later, let's say after this webinar, during the week, or even before the annual meeting, you're more than welcome to reach out via social media. You can scan the QR code for that, or you can also email us at our Gmail account.
We have an anonymous attendee saying thank you. Oh, we have another question. The event code for the Event Scribe app.
Yes, we can go to that. Nicole, do you have a little bit of information on that? I can go back on the slides.
Yes, I do. It's a weird code. So it's AMCA 24. So at the very bottom, yeah, AMCA 24. I didn't say it because I kept saying it wrong when I was trying to practice. So, but yeah, like I said, there were some issues. So, when I tried to log in the first time, I had a hard time. So seriously use this page to help you troubleshoot that. Because it was kind of painful the first time I tried to access it.
Yes, and I believe AMCA also sent an email with those instructions, so do check your inbox. But again, you can also look at our slide for that. But if you have any questions regarding the app, definitely reach out to AMCA with any questions and concerns on that. Good question.
And Jasmine also asked, can you show the times again for the YP dinner, symposium, and social?
Yes, no problem. So here is the workshop. Definitely take a quick photo. If not, again, we'll share a recording of this. So we're going to be very active on social media as well. So as we're nearing the conference, we'll have on social media, we'll also send an email out and we'll update our website with all this information. So if you don't get a chance to take a quick photo or screenshot, we will be sharing that information. So so no worries if you don't see it today, but what you're seeing right now is the information for the workshop. And then just because of time, I'll go to the photo with the dinner. While I'm doing this, Becky, do we have any other questions that we can answer right now before we have to end the webinar?
So someone also said that they chose YP dinner only on the RSVP page and is asking if they can sign up for the pre-conference workshop in a different survey.
Oh, good question. Nicole, do you know that one?
I would say personally, if you could, well, actually, I collect your email. So yes, if you fill it out again, just don't click the dinner twice, right? So just fill it out again and say no to the dinner, and I can look at the emails and connect you. So yep, you can fill it out again. That works.
Yeah, excellent question. And the last one is for social. As I mentioned, we'll be sharing all this information, including the recording at a later time, but you'll have all the information with times, dates, and more information details about all of our activities a week prior to the annual meeting. So again, that information will be available. Becky, any other comments, questions, or concerns from attendees?
Don't think so. Just more thank yous from our audience. So thank you too for attending.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll have the webinar go for another minute just in case you guys have any final questions, comments, or concerns. But if you don't have any, you're more than welcome, to leave the webinar. But again, any questions that you may have before the annual conference, cannot stress enough, definitely do reach out to us, reach out to any of the chairs or advisors, and we would be more than happy to provide any additional information. So even if we don't have the answer, let's say regarding the conference, we can direct you to the appropriate individuals for that. Okay, so seeing that there's no other questions, we can end the webinar here. Again, thank you so much for taking the time off your Monday to join us today and also for those questions. So again, reach out to us if you have any questions, and if not, we'll see you at the annual meeting in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.